If you've been on the internet for any length of time, there's a pretty good chance that you've seen this meme, or at least a meme that follows this same format. Now, where did this come from? This is not a Hallmark card gone wrong. It's not a children's book illustration. It's actually from a book that's part of a broader trilogy, informally known as the After Trilogy by Dougal Dixon. Now, rather than spoil it and go ahead and tell you the context behind this image, instead, I decided to read all three books and review them for those unfamiliar with these works. And then, once I get to the section that spawned this iconic meme, I'll be sure to tell you the story behind the Zoinked Out Monkey Man and the Goober Boy. Although the three books in the After Trilogy explore concepts of speculative zoology and evolution, each book is self-contained, and the trilogy does not represent one continuous narrative. Accordingly, I'll be reviewing each book in order of publication. Published in 1982, After Man explores a hypothetical future 50 million years from the present, where mankind has gone extinct along with many of the domesticated and major wild animals of his time. In their place, the wild animals of the earth have evolved into the various ecological niches that have opened up as the continents have drifted and the climate has regulated. After Man is written and presented like an actual textbook, and each page is full of colorful and interesting illustrations of these fantastical animals that come from the mind of Mr. Dixon. I won't show all the illustrations in this book, but I want to give you a taste to whet your appetite so that you'll read this book yourself, because it is quite an experience. The world building and the ambience that Dougal Dixon is able to create in After Man is quite enjoyable to explore and read through, but this is not even his best work. As you'll soon see, Dixon continues to hone his craft throughout the trilogy, and the best is yet to come for grand-scale speculative zoology storytelling. Published 6 years later in 1988, The New Dinosaurs took the same formula as After Man, but instead applied it to the prehistoric reptiles. In The New Dinosaurs, Dixon attempts to show the present if the past had been different. In this world, the dinosaurs never went extinct, and according to Dixon, the mammals remained in the shadow of the reptiles, becoming nothing more than mice and shrews. Meanwhile, the reptiles flourished and evolved to cover the earth along with their bird relatives. Just like After Man, The New Dinosaurs is presented like a textbook with colorful illustrations. And although it's not as much of a freak show as After Man, The New Dinosaurs is still an enjoyable experience, and if you enjoyed After Man, you would likely enjoy this as well. The next and final installation in the After Trilogy would represent quite a departure from the tone and style of the previous two. In my opinion, Man After Man is easily the best book of the After Trilogy. I very much do not want to spoil this book so that if you're interested in it, you can read it and get the same experience I had when I first read it, because I read it basically blind going in. So instead, I'll be giving a very general overview leading up to the events of the picture of the Zoinked Out Monkey Man and the Goober Boy, And I'll leave it at that, because this has some fantastic narratives and endings that I do not want to spoil. Set 200 years in the future, Man After Man starts by showing us an Earth that is on the verge of collapse. Harvesting of natural resources, global warming, and extreme levels of pollution have made man realize that his time on Earth is limited, and if mankind is going to survive and proliferate, he must find some other worlds to colonize. Accordingly, man has begun construction of a colony ship to take the best and brightest of humanity off into space to find another home. At this point, mankind's technological ability to modify genes has reached a point where he can create very strange versions of humans to help in the resource collection and construction needed for the infrastructure for the colony ship. For example, we are introduced to Pickleblick the Aquamorph, an individual who is specifically designed to live underwater and to collect deuterium for the rocket fuel. We're also introduced to the Vacuumorph, a spacefaring human designed to help construct and maintain orbital infrastructure. At this point, most of Earth's major animals are extinct, and so before the colony ship leaves Earth, the human scientists realize this is an opportunity to release some engineered animals onto the Earth so that they might inhabit it and have some remaining presence of life on the Earth now that humanity will be leaving and the conditions on Earth will soon wipe out the rest of humanoids. Accordingly, they genetically engineer a few human-derived creatures that are designed for the different biomes that the Earth currently has or they anticipate to have in the future. These creatures are left to their own devices as the humans on Earth begin to crumble under the weight of their civilization and the spacefaring humans disappear into the ether. So that finally brings us to this meme. At this point, most of mankind's civilization has collapsed. There's just a few villages scattered around the globe, and the spacefaring humans are long gone. This is about 2,000 years in the future. The magnetic poles are beginning to shift, and a great ice age is beginning to fall upon the Earth. We have a forest dweller named Rum, and he's been living in the temperate forests, caring for his mate and his children. However, the ice age that's coming has meant that the winters are longer and longer, and the growing season is shorter and shorter, and so he's having trouble finding food. He's not the only genetically modified humanoid in the area. There's also the tundra dwellers, and they're moving through the area headed north as part of their migration habits. Rum sees this group of tundra dwellers, and normally he would be indifferent to other creatures that look somewhat like him. He would at best view them as rivals, but he's never viewed them as food. However, in this particular situation, he finds himself realizing that maybe these are food. He's having trouble finding nuts and berries and little rats and stuff to eat, and he comes to the conclusion that perhaps this thing that looks sort of like him, maybe that is actually food, and that's something that can help his family. Again, we're dealing with the intelligence of about a monkey here. So, as the tundra dwellers cross a creek, there is a youngster that winds up staying behind just a little bit as he drinks out of the creek. And that's when Rum pounces upon him. The little tundra dweller yells out a shriek as he's being attacked. And that is the image you see before you, the spawn of the season's greetings meme. And that's just the beginning of this book. This book continues to show millions of years of evolution of all these various humanoid creatures and the different encounters and conflicts they have with each other. Man After Man is a fantastic science fiction book, and I think it's best experienced largely blind. So instead of continuing to show you more creatures and explain more encounters that happen, I'm rather just going to recommend that you read the book and experience it for yourself. After Man, The New Dinosaurs, and Man After Man form the After Trilogy, a unique, oddball, but quite enjoyable series of science fiction / speculative zoology books. I quite enjoyed reading through these. Unfortunately, you can only get a physical copy of After Man and the New Dinosaurs for a reasonable price. Man After Man routinely goes for $300 or more on eBay, so you'll be stuck with a PDF for those. But I highly recommend these books, if nothing more than to just look at the cool illustrations of creatures from the imagination of Dougal Dixon. This has been Raw Egg Slim. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.